So I was having this thought the other day, and as soon as it popped up, I pushed it to the back of my mind because it's not something that I want to happen. But then in that same day, somebody tweeted me about it, and then I was like, okay, so I'm not the only one who can kind of see this down the road already. And it was the thought of if the Celtics would entertain trading Kyrie Irving later down the road if this season doesn't go as planned. At the time of this recording, it's not going as planned. Compared to where they're supposed to be, they are ass. Kyrie Irving and Tatum are taking way too many mid-range shots. Tatum in particular is taking too many pull-ups. I blame Kobe for that. Gordon Hayward has not yet returned to the level that we would like to see, which I don't think this is too unexpected. We know the injury he had, you can come back from it because Paul George did something similar, but I don't think anybody expected him to join right back and be an all-star. But anyways, yeah, his shooting and his complete lack of defense, that's definitely hurting the team. And then on top of all that, there's just so many mouths to feed. You got Rozier off the bench in a contract year when he was just starting in the playoffs. You got Brown who needs action. Hayward needs more action to get back to where he was. That's the only way it's ever going to happen. There's just so much to go around on a team that was doing so well in the playoffs last year with what they had. So you add Kyrie and Hayward back into that fold, and I guess the slow start should have been predictable. Now, I haven't lost faith in them yet, that's not why I'm having this conversation, but it's because of what could happen down the road. See, the thing is, I believe that was in preseason. Kyrie was on the court and he started talking about if the crowd would have him for one more year. Basically, he verbally committed to signing with this team for at least another season. After this season, he has a chance to opt in or opt out. However, a verbal commitment really means nothing as much as I hate to say it. As hard as it is to watch that video of him sitting mid-court and telling the crowd he would stay for one more year, and then trying to imagine that he would actually renege on that and not come back, it's definitely hard to imagine. But is it that unrealistic though? Do y'all know there's a thing that happened early on in 2017 and I feel like I'm the only person who saw it because nobody ever talked about it. But in like February of 2017, there was a report that Chris Paul had already verbally agreed to re-sign with the Clippers. And that was just a few months before he took off and signed with the Rockets. So early verbal commitments, they mean little more than a reflection of how the player feels at that time. And the thing I'm worried about is if this struggle lasts with Kyrie Irving, he could easily just say, I don't really want to be a part of this. Maybe there's something else I want to go be a part of. Maybe I don't feel like putting in the work to figure this out. And then he's gone. So if you're Boston, you have to look at this realistic possibility that your superstar starting point guard might jet and you might get nothing. And that's what they were looking at with Isaiah Thomas. That's why they traded him. If you go way back, I actually made a video before they traded Thomas saying why the Celtics may need to trade him. That was back when they were looking in the draft at like Markelle Fultz. And then I was asking the question, is this a guy that's going to lead you to a championship? And then what if he wants a Brinks truck next summer? What are we going to do here? And we know that Danny Ainge is ruthless. So if you're Danny, do you start looking at it and saying, you know what, we have a lot of pieces. We have all the pieces here. We've got a Tatum. Brown is obviously better than he's showing. I just don't think he's really fitting in with what's going on right now. This team is definitely better than they're playing. So if you're still bad a couple of months from now, do you start to get swayed by Kyrie's injury history and then start to say, you know what, maybe some different pieces can take them in a different direction? Just to be clear, I don't want that to happen, and I don't think that's going to happen. I think, should this struggle continue, Danny is obviously going to make a move then because this team is built to win now. And he's not going to watch his team that's built to win now just flutter into the end of the season, and then Kyrie might really want to leave then because there was no adjustments made. Nah, I think it's way more likely that he moves somebody else before he moves Kyrie because Kyrie's only 26. And as long as he's healthy, he's part of the long-term plan. I think Rozier is obviously trade bait. Maybe he even looks at it and says, you know, there is too many mouths to feed on this team, and he includes Jaylen Brown in a trade package. And then you might be able to get something nice back. And let's just keep it real for a second. It's always easy to laugh about the whole Anthony Davis and Celtics thing, but I'm just throwing that out there because we know that's what's on Danny's mind going forward. Especially if this experiment doesn't work out, he's looking at Kyrie Irving and Anthony Davis for the future. That's probably the goal. Can't get him this season, obviously, because of the Rose rule. There's no way a trade like that could happen. But after July, or when July comes, then that's possible. Then there's something to be worked out there. Especially if the Pelicans have missed the playoffs, and now Anthony Davis wants to go. And then they're in a situation where they have to unload him somewhere because you can't let him leave and not get anything back for it. So my stance on this topic, is that I don't think the Celtics would really consider trading him. I just think there's better moves you can make, especially if he's not giving an indication that he really wants to leave. So far, nothing has changed since he said he verbally committed, so there's other things you can try than just blowing it all up and trading him. It is a possibility, definitely. With Danny, anything is a possibility. Anytime there's Danny and there's struggle and there's moves to be made, especially the big ones, he will do it. But I don't see this as being the exact same thing as the Isaiah Thomas situation. With Thomas, there was the whole thing of, obviously Danny saw it the same way I did. Thomas was not a championship point guard. I never thought he was going to take Boston to a championship. He was good, but he was a huge defensive liability, and I just did not see him as being the best player on a championship team. I could imagine that role for Kyrie Irving, or at least being something pretty close to it, and I wouldn't feel bad if they threw a ton of money at him either. However, I would have been pissed if they threw a bag at Isaiah. So yeah, let me know what you think about this topic. It's just something that crossed my mind because if there was a time when Boston would trade Kyrie or consider trading Kyrie, the beginning of this season has the perfect ingredients. You've got a suspect verbal commitment, you've got a suspect start, and you've got a player that's possibly a free agent after this year, and a crucial piece of the team. So those are the ingredients, and that's why it just kind of struck across my mind for a split second. But what I see is the struggle continues. I do foresee a move, just not that move. And plus, then it gets really complicated because it's like you have to find a team that's really in a position to take on Kyrie and to take the risk on Kyrie. Because the later you wait, like you get close to February, no team would trade for him unless he just completely said, yes, I'm opting in. And I don't know of how many teams he would really be down with that for, like the Knicks maybe. And I don't know what we're getting back from the Knicks that would even make us trade him there, so this is just some food for thought. Leave your thoughts below. Hit the like button, comment, and sub if you enjoyed, and hit the bell next to my name if you want notifications on future videos. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one.